Hi everyone. Welcome to the Cozy Cardigans podcast. My name is Melanie, also known as Cozy Cardigans on Instagram and on Ravelry. I'm also the owner and dyer for Big Little Yarn Co. And you can find that on biglittleyarnco.com and on Instagram as Big Little Yarn Co. Hi. It's been a couple of weeks, I think, since the last podcast. So a lot of like new house stuff has been happening. You saw that I put up the bookshelves. You can kind of see it peeking. I also got my desk, and then Tim's got his desk back there. Got my chair, so all that little like delivery stuff has been happening, and also I've been doing my best to get started on restarting the shop here in Japan, so that's also been taking up a little bit of time. But yeah, so I finally have a chance to say hi. So let's see. First off, I guess what I'm wearing is my Ridgecrest pullover. This is my own design. It's also available on Ravelry, and it's made out of the fiber company. I forget which base I made it out of. It's my own design too. It's been a couple years since I've made it, but the pattern is available on Ravelry, and there's also like a boat neck option and like a wide sleeve option. This is like the regular sleeve, regular neck option that I have on right now. But yeah, so that's that. And so I do have some acquisitions. I have quite a few actually. So I guess how do we usually do this? Is it FOs and then whips and then acquisitions maybe? I think so. So let me get started on the FOs, and already know I forgot to bring my FO, so hold on just one second. Alright, sorry about that. So I do have one FO to show you. This is not my sweater, but this is Tim's, my husband's, birthday sweater. It's a little wrinkled because it's been folded up already. He's already tried it on. Maybe I could put a picture of him wearing it here. But yeah, it's just, it's got like a mock neck. It's 2x2 rib mock neck, and this is my own pattern, by the way. And then just regular sleeves. And then it's a little more cropped than a usual men's sweater. Like I could probably wear it as an oversized sweater myself, actually. But he does like to wear high-waisted pants. Pretty much all his pants are high-waisted, so he wanted something a little more shorter so that it works with his style. So this sweater is made out of Knit Picks Revere. It's 100% alpaca wool, and the color is a little blown up. It's this very, very dark gray, almost black. Not sure if you could tell. So this sweater, so the last time I talked to you, I showed you the yoke of the sweater. So at the time I was knitting it top down, and as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but I don't know if you could tell, but I ended up knitting it bottom up, because after I knit the yoke and after I split for the sleeves, he put it on and it just looked a little off. Like it just didn't really, he has quite broad shoulders and like a broad back, and it just looked not great on him. So I thought about it and I was like, I knit So it's like pretty much like almost half the sweater, but I mean, what's the point of making a sweater for someone's birthday if they don't even look good in it? So, I mean, yeah, so I ended up frogging all of that and then starting this one. So I knit up the body, and then how should I say this? So I knit the body, bottom up, no shaping, and then I did like a 3 needle bind off for the shoulders, and then I knit the collar, and then I was like, I gave it to him to try on, but the problem was that this time I kind of overestimated the width of his shoulders. So now it was like way too broad, like, because if you don't knit, like for example, this one has very minimal shaping, and because the body of the sweater to the shoulders just knit straight, the shoulders kind of end up a bit lower, like mid upper arm area. So it makes that drop shoulder look, which is cute, but it looked weird on him again because the shoulder was kind of off and he wanted something a bit more fitted. And to make a fitted sweater, what you're gonna do is you're gonna have to knit up to the right here where the armhole starts, and then you kind of have to decrease the shoulders a bit to make this little sleeve cap, so that in the end you just have this wedge here from where your neck starts to where your shoulder ends. So you're kind of getting rid of this, like this whole bit here. So the problem was that I already, did this 3 needle bind off. Like it already looked like that. So at this point it was like 2 days before his birthday, 1 day before his birthday, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have time, and I don't know if I'm gonna have the energy to unpick the cast off or the bind off and then frog all the way down here and then re-knit the whole shoulder part. I was like, I don't know if that's gonna happen, because at this point I was like, not that I was over it, but after you do something a certain amount of times, you're just kind of like, you just want to get it right. So I saw that and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have the energy and the willpower to, do that whole frogging situation, because his, it's not, because my armhole depth is very short because my upper arm width is very short. So for me, if I was to knit my own sweater, frogging maybe this much is not that big of a deal. But because Tim has a much thicker upper arm width, the amount of frogging and re-knitting that I'd have to do was a bit more of an undertaking. So what I did, and some of you might be screaming at the screen after I tell you what I did, was that I kind of cut into my knitting, but sideways. So what I mean is that because it was, so just pretend this is Tim's sweater, but because I needed to make that wedge here, I needed to get rid of this whole entire extra shoulder bit. So what I did was I kind of traced, what do you call it, like I made little marks to make, like, because I can't draw on a knit thing, so I just got a bunch of stitch markers and I like traced where that arm hole should be, so kind of like this, and then I obviously matched it on the other side. But so I traced it, and then I backstitched with the same kind of yarn. So with this same yarn, I backstitched all the way around the hole twice, and then hoped and prayed that that was enough to kind of at least hold that raw edge together. And then I kind of went a few stitches away from that backstitched area, that backstitched line that I made, and then I cut into it. So this is actually worked out pretty well, considering that I've never steeked, I've never cut into my knitting before, so this was really scary. But after doing a lot of research about it, I was like pretty sure that would work. But I mean, I obviously don't recommend it like at all. If you have the time and the willpower to frog it and redo an armhole, that's what I would recommend. But so yeah, so that's what I ended up doing. Let me show you the inside. So I'm not sure if you could see. So this is the armhole. So you see that like really thick kind of seam right here? That's actually the armhole seam. So I cut the raw edge, and then what I did was I folded it over, so like almost like a hem kind of. Folded it twice so that the raw edge would kind of be, so I folded it once and I folded it twice like that, and then I hemmed it, or like stitched it down around the seam so that the raw edge would be covered as much as possible. So there are little bits that are kind of poking out, like you can see there, but most of the raw cut edge is really tacked down. Like I really went into it to tack it all down to make sure that it doesn't unravel. And you know, this sweater is not super, I mean the yarn that I used is not super washed anyway, so I would be hand washing this whenever he needs. So I wasn't really worried about, like, I guess if it's something that you would throw into a washing machine, I definitely would not be doing this, but I knew that I was gonna have to be really gentle with this anyways when I wash it, so I wasn't worried about that. And I also stitched it many times, so it is a little bulky, on the bulky side. So when he wears it, you could see the seam, but in the end it kind of worked out because it looks a bit more structured, like how he wanted anyways. So yeah, that's what I did. So in the end I just cut that wedge out. I think I still have the pieces. Okay, yeah. So this is the wedge that I ended up cutting out. It doesn't look like much now that I look at it, but it's only this small of a wedge because in the end there was also the part that got folded into the seam, and then so it looks like maybe 1.5 inches of wedge that I cut out, but in the end the area that got removed ended up being like maybe 2.5 inches. So, and then as you can see, I made it so that, because it's like a pizza shape, because the bottom part you need to cut out less than the top part, so that's why it's not like a perfect rectangle or anything. But yeah, that was an ordeal, but it got done. He loves the sweater, so that's good. But yeah, hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, it's because it's not supposed to happen. So definitely don't recommend that, but it is possible if you really have to. You can tack the raw edge so that it doesn't move while you work on it further, but you really do have to pay attention to the raw edge as you work with it, because if it starts unraveling, then it's gone. So the back stitching really helped. I think I might do that for I'm planning on some steeking projects this year. I might end up doing that because one option is to use a sewing machine and use like a zigzag stitch to hold that raw edge together. But I don't have a sewing machine, so in my research I saw that you could do a back stitch all the way around using the same yarn. So that's what I ended up doing. But yeah, that was tough. That was a long story, long FO story, but yeah, I'm glad it worked out. I don't want to say I'm glad it's over. It was fun to make him a sweater. That was the first sweater I've ever made for him. So, I mean, that was fun, but also good thing birthdays only come once a year. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's it. That's the only FO that I have. So after I casted that off, I saw that Jennifer Steingass is doing a knit along for any of her patterns, and right before I casted this off, I purchased. So I guess this is kind of an acquisition. I purchased this. This is Swedish wool. And it's like a pencil roving. So I don't know if you could see. It's very delicate. So I got this. I got 3 plates of this. These are called plates. And I also got a plate of this variegated version, blue and yellow. Very lovely. And so I was hoping to make some kind of colorwork yoke sweater out of this, and one of Jennifer Steingass's patterns. And I saw that she was doing a knit along, so I thought it was perfect. So once I cast it off Tim's sweater, I cast it on mine. So this is what it looks like so far. I just finished the yoke portion, and oh my gosh, I love how it turned out. I'm so glad that the colors kind of ended up being perfectly half and half. Well, maybe not perfectly, because I think the yellow ends a little above the middle line, but anyways, I think it looks great. I'm a little worried that it's a little small, but I'm going to try it on later to make sure that it's okay. But yeah, I love it. I love it so much. This is her Alden pullover pattern. And yeah, I don't know. This is the first time I'm using the like a pencil roving. It's a bit like Pullover, which is the Icelandic type of yarn. Very similar. You really have to be careful when you're knitting with it. So let me show you. So since it's so delicate, so this is like a single ply, very thin, pretty much unspun. So since it's so delicate, some people recommend pulling from the middle, and as you can see, I tried that, but it wasn't really working out for me. So I just roll it off the outside as I go, and that helps me. But some people like to pull from the middle. But you really have to be delicate with this, because what happens if you pull like a normal yarn, or you tension it like a normal yarn, it just kind of falls apart like that super easily. But on the other hand, since it's unspun roving, you kind of just, if that ever happens, you just overlay the 2 ends and kind of felt the ends back together, and then it just goes back to normal. So that's really cool, but you really do have to be careful. And but yeah, that's how it's going, and it's going really good. I'm really excited to wear it. Yeah, looks good, huh? So yeah, that's like an acquisition. I've been pretty much working on this project monogamously, kind of. Whenever I'm just sitting at the desk and I have free time and I'm working on it, this is like my desk project, mostly because this is so delicate that I don't really feel, I feel like you really kind of have to pay more attention to it. So it's not really like in bed relaxing kind of knitting. And I have that over here. And I obviously can't take this big plate out and about. So it's more so like desk knitting. So I've been working on that. And what I've been working on whenever I go out to places and I'm sitting, it's like my train knitting project is just the simple vanilla sock. I'm using Summerly Knits' SOS super simple basic sock pattern, because I've made so many socks, but I'm always forgetting how to do it because I usually knit sweaters. So well, anyways, so this is just like a basic, I'm just basing it off of her pattern, but instead of doing regular stockinette, I'm just doing pearls every so often to make like a little fun little texture. So I finished the heel, as you can see, and I like shorter socks, which is why the leg is a little short. But so I finished the heel, currently doing the gusset decreases, and I usually knit 2 at a time. And this is size, her pattern calls for size 1 needles, but I like to use size 0. It's just what I've always been using, and so I use size 0, and then I go up a size in her instructions, and then it ends up being my size. So this is the self-striping sock yarn from Nomadic Fibers. I love her self-striping sock yarn. This is her First Frost colorway. I don't know why it's looking green, but it's like brown, very light yellow, this like not bright brown, but like a khaki brown, it's blue, gray, and then the heel, contrast heel, and then contrast toes. I'll also use this for the toes, is my own Shoyu colorway, which is just like a classic dark brown. Thought it went well with the stripes. So yeah, that's my going out, sitting on the train kind of knitting. So it lives in this little bag. And then what I've been working on while I'm whenever I'm in bed and I'm just watching a movie or something, this is my movie watching project. So this has been a long time whip. So this has been on the needle since October or November. This is the Slipstravaganza shawl from West Knits, and I'm using my own. This was my Halloween colorways, special edition colorways. So these were special edition, and they're not coming back. But so I won't really be. There's just different colors. I don't know if I should talk about them too much. I don't want to make you jealous, but they're probably one of my favorites. I say they're not going to come back, but I don't know, maybe I'll bring them back. But anyways, I think I've showed you this before, and it was looking longer. But so right now I'm on section 3, and it's like the diamond section. And I was knitting it up. I was almost done. I think I was definitely more than halfway done with that section. But I was looking at it, and in that section there's supposed to be this diamond pattern that pops up from, I don't know if you can see, but these little like blue blips here kind of make a diamond pattern as the section grows. But when I looked at it, I realized that somewhere I probably increased too little or too many, and so some of the segments were shifted, and it definitely didn't look like a diamond pattern. It just looked like random blue blips on this section. So I was like, oh, it's like usually things don't bother me too much when I make those kinds of silly mistakes, but it was really bothering me, so I went ahead and I frogged like the entire thing. So I'm going back and knitting section 3 again, so it's not looking like much. But I guess maybe I should just show you the colorways. So the main color, so it calls for 4 colors, 1 main color, 3 contrast colors. But in my Halloween collection last year, I had 5 different colors. 2 of them were like bluish, so it got frogged, so I kind of just like made ugly balls out of them. But this is Coraline, and this is E.T. So I'm using these two, alternating these 2 skeins to make the, whenever it calls for the main color. And then the other 3, okay, the balls are so ugly right now, but this is Hereditary. This is one of the contrast colors. This is The Shining, and it's really gross, but it's based off the carpet in the hotel from The Shining. And then this is Beetlejuice. But yeah, so I'm so happy I get to, you know, revisit these colors, because honestly this was one of my favorite collections to make, because for those of you who don't know, I love horror movies. So being able to make colorways based off of spooky Halloween themed movies was really fun for me. So I'm glad I'm able to knit on that. I don't mind frogging that at all. Because that just means I get to knit it longer. But yeah, those have been the whips that I've been kind of concentrating on. Last year, I casted on so many things. So I was working on like 5 different projects at the same time. And I kind of got stuck with the feeling, that rush you get when you start a new project, you know? So I've been trying to kind of rein it in this year. So just working on 2 big projects, and then 1 project whenever I, 1 sock project whenever I go out. So trying not to do too much at the same time. But after I finished the Alden pullover, well, also another thing that I told myself was, in the beginning of the year I was saying, since I have so many whips, I think I have at least 5 more whips apart from these 2 or these 3 that I've shown you. In the beginning of the year I was saying, saying that I want to finish all these older whips before I start up any new projects. But then I was like, I don't want to hold myself back from starting anything new just because I made this arbitrary rule for myself that no one really, no one's going to hold me to it except for myself, which is fine. But also at the same time, there's going to be new stuff every year, and it's going to be exciting, and sometimes I just want to go with the flow, you know, so which is why I casted on this Alden, even though it wasn't a previous whip, because there's a knit along for it, so might as well. So in that vein, I kind of changed the rules a little bit, so I'm going to have a new project whip, old project whip, and then my sock going out whip. And I think that might be a good way to balance out, you know, finishing old things, making sure that, you know, I stay on track for that, but also being okay with trying new stuff, you know, and being able to experience new things during the year. So I think that's made me feel a lot better about having all these whips. Like, I know I'll get to them, but it's not a race, and it's okay that I take a long time to get to them. So yeah, in that vein, there's another knit along coming up. Emma from Woolly Mammoth Fibers is doing a knit along with, I believe her name is Vanessa, She's the one who designed the Rufus shawl for Emma's advent calendar, her 2020 advent calendar. And I do have, I guess I'll show you. And I was planning on making the Rufus shawl for quite a while now, actually, using this. This is Emma's autumnal mini skein set. It's got 6 colors, these red, green, yellow, and then these neutrals. This, along with this bare skein of Peruvian wool that I've had for quite a while now from my own shop. And I thought this would be perfect for a Rufus shawl, so I was just kind of, you know, holding on to the yarn until I could get to it. And then she announced that she's doing a knit along. So I think after I finished the Alden, I'm gonna go ahead and cast on this shawl. And I'm not sure if, I'm pretty sure that this is enough yardage for hers. I know hers, the pattern was designed for her advent calendar, so there are more opportunities to put more colors in. But I don't know if I have anything else that would suit this kind of autumnal color palette. I kind of do just want to keep it simple. But yeah, so that's a plan. So after the Alden, I'm going to do that. But yeah, some plans. So acquisitions, actually, yeah, acquisitions, kind of. So first off, fiber stuff. I haven't spun in a while, so I don't have too much to show you. I haven't spun since I've gotten here, actually, so hopefully this will change things. But so I found a not local but a seller in Japan that sells fiber tops. So this is some Corriedale top that I bought from them. Just simple white, because I'm planning on dyeing them. So I've also gotten their merino top, and I started to experiment with dyeing fiber. So the first thing I dyed was this lovely blue-green fiber, and I don't know if you could tell, but it's pretty felted. So, well, maybe you could tell from here. It's very tough, not very fluffy anymore. So this was my first fiber that I've ever dyed myself. It is still fluffy. I feel like I could definitely still work with it somehow, but it's not the best, honestly. The colors are good, but I wouldn't want to spin with it. If I could choose to, I would want to spin something else, but I don't want to waste this thing. So I think this one I messed up. I felted because as a yarn dyer who works with superwash yarns, I'm kind of really used to being able to not be rough with it, but to not be super concerned about felting, because I'm gonna deliver you guys here, that's okay. Because since it's superwash, or my yarn is usually superwash, I don't really have to worry about felting too much. But totally forgot, this is regular merino, not superwash merino, and I kind of acted like it was superwash and it got felted. So that was my bad. But I mean, I really like the colors that came out of it. So I do really want to try again for this one. But so the second time around, I was like, okay, Mel, you gotta remember to be gentle, don't touch it. And not touching fiber when it's right in front of you is really hard, at least for me. So this one came out a lot better. And as you can see, it's a lot fluffier than this one. See the difference? So this came out a lot better. I love the colors that came out of it. It's like a grungy brownish color. And yes, so you can see that it's a lot fluffier at the ends. So that makes me happy. There are some parts of it, can't remember where, that got a little felted, and I think it might be because I was poking it a little too much in those places. So I just gotta remember to not touch it at all. But yeah, I'm really happy with this one, how this one turned out. And I really wanna spin with it. So this is like kind of an acquisition, kind of an FO, but not really an FO because it's unspun. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So I'm really excited to try and experiment with the Corridale, see how that goes. These ones I ended up immersion dyeing, which is kind of like you put it in hot water, not boiling water, hot water, and then it just kind of not swims in there, but it sits in there while you dye. But I think for the Corridale, what I'm going to do is use the steaming method. So I'm going to use steam in order to set the dye instead. So that is fun. Got that. And then, what else did I? Oh. So Tim has also requested some more things after the sweater. So he requested a beanie, so I got these. These are a couple of Japanese yarn brands from around here. This one is, this yarn brand is called Puppy, like the dog Puppy. And this is their Queen Anny base. And this is 100% wool. You know, 100% wool. I believe it's like a worsted or maybe DK. Wait, and then I got it in this olive colorway. So he wants a beanie made out of this. And then he also saw this. So Tim has very sensitive skin, so I knit this sweater for him. It's 100% alpaca. Alpaca does kind of prick a little bit if you are sensitive because there's a lot of these fuzzy fibers that kind of pop up. Cause yeah, I don't know if you could see. So I don't know, what was that hair? I think that's my hair. But I don't know if you could see that like halo of fluff that comes off of alpaca. So he thinks alpaca is itchy. I don't think alpaca is itchy, but he thinks it is. So, you know, hey-ho. But all that is to say that he saw this this yarn base. This is Daruma. So the brand is called Daruma. And then this one is, the base is Yawaraka Ram. It's soft lamb. And the contents is 60% acrylic and 40% lamb's wool. So not 100% acrylic, but it is super soft, and it was in the baby section. And he thought it was super soft, so I mean, if he wants it, that's fine. I don't prefer to use acrylic just because it is, you know, not a natural wool. But also, if someone wants something out of this because they think it's soft and nice, then who am I to say that they're wrong? So this is for like a vest type of thing that he saw. Let me wonder if there's Here's a very grainy picture. So it's for this vest. And this is actually a kid's vest. So it's a kid size vest that I'm going to have to somehow translate into a men's sized vest. But this pattern came for free along with the yarn. So I was like, why not? And this is a Japanese style pattern. So it's all charted. And there's some instructions here, but it's all mostly just schematics, charts. So it's also a chart in the back. There's some more instructions here, more schematics. So very different from the patterns that I'm normally used to. But I'm up for the challenge. This will definitely be a long time goal, I would say, mostly because I would have to translate this pattern into a men's size before I'm able to knit up his vest. But I also got these little wooden buttons for him for the vest. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Because it sounds tough. I think I could do it though. It just sounds like a long, arduous process. But yeah, there's that. And, oh. So this also just came in like last week. But, I had a Etsy gift card from my brother for my birthday / Christmas. And I was trying to figure out what to get, and I didn't want to buy anything in America because I knew we were going to move here, and I didn't want to have to carry a bunch more stuff with me. So I got this. I was looking around and I finally realized, or came to the conclusion, that it was the perfect amount to purchase some Jamiesons for my Murata, or not my Murata cardigan, because I've been eyeing that pattern for quite a while now, and I just really love challenging color work. Like, I love that. And also it involves steeking, and it's just a very challenging pattern that I'd love to tackle sometime. So I got this from Lace Knittery. Show a nice little note for me. So this is for the Murata cardigan. The main color that I'll be using is this beigey brown color, very warm brown color. This is 106 Musket. That's the colorway name. And then the contrast colors that I'll be using. So the contrast colors, the pattern calls for 2 contrast colors, but I really wanted 3 because I saw some other people's projects and some people have done 3, and I love that. So I got 3 different colors. So I got these 3. I love how they look together. So this green one, it's like this swampy green color. This is sphagnum. And then this kind of dark teal color is called turf. And then this nice like indigo denim blue color is called Atlantic. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. It's gonna look so good. It's gonna be so good. So yeah, I'm really excited for this too. I don't know, I have so many plans. I have so much yarn. I think I have enough yarn to honestly last me for the year, but I'm not the type of person to go on a yarn diet or anything, mostly because I dye yarn for a living, and it's really hard to go on a yarn diet when you see yarn all the time. But yeah, that is that. Very exciting. came in this nice little box, so I could just keep it all together. But yeah, that's it. That's all my acquisitions and whips. Yes. I think that's it for my knitting content. It wasn't too long this time, which is good. I think the fact that I'm only working on 3 projects now instead of like a bajillion really cuts down on video time, so hopefully you guys are into that. I'm gonna go into some book reading content, so if you're not interested in books and you are good to go, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like the video, I guess. I'm hoping to, once I start to get into the rhythm of things, to do more vlogs and things like that. I know people have been really interested in seeing more of Japan. Right now, because of COVID, I don't really go out too often. Pretty much only go out to go grocery shopping and house necessity stuff, so not much to show. But once I do start to dye yarn again, I'd love to do some like day in the life type of vlogs. I know you all like that stuff, so yeah, thanks for watching. So this is gonna be more so book related now, but where's my phone? Sorry, I have my phone to put on my book reading. So my goal for this year, my top goal is to read 100 books this year. Sounds like a lot. I know it is a lot, but I've done it before, and I think I'm at a place now where, I don't know, book reading has been more ingrained in my everyday nowadays. I read at least an hour a day, or I try to. So yeah, that's my top goal. If I could get to 100, awesome. My kind of regular goal, I just want to be able to read 50 books. So I've been reading a lot nowadays because I'm not yet dyeing because I don't have my yarn yet. So I've just been doing admin stuff every day, and that kind of leaves a lot more room to be able to listen to audiobooks and to just read. So I've read quite a lot of books. I wonder how I should do this. Maybe I should do the last 5 books I read, because I've read 14 books already and I think that's a bit much. Or maybe I should do my favorite books so far. I'll do my favorite books so far, and then because I don't know if you're interested in seeing all 14 of those books. But one book that I really liked was In the Dream House. It's by Carmen Maria Machado. This is a nonfiction autobiography memoir, and it was so good. I think if you are interested in reading nonfiction that reads like fiction, then I would highly recommend this book to you. It's very literary. It's almost like literary fiction, but it's like real life, which is really cool. So I gave that 5 stars. Another really good book that I liked was Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, who is the author of what's that called? What is it? What's that book called? Oh, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. He's the one who wrote Perks of Being a Wallflower. But Imaginary Friend is a fantasy horror. Is in that genre. So if you're like me and you like horror, it's a pretty good book. It's quite long. A lot of people have complained that it's a bit too long, but I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was very imaginative and good, and the plot was good, and the creepy parts are creepy. And so yeah, I do really like that one. Oh, I also read Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, and that was really good. I had no idea what that book was about, And then I read it and I was like, oh, that's what the book was about. So it was really good. Highly recommend that one as well. Also read Mexican Gothic. Did I say this already? I read Mexican Gothic. That was really good. Another Gothic horror set in Mexico. But is that 4 books? And then I guess I'll say what I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading, so since I'm in Japan now, I can't really buy English books, like English written books here. I could, it's available, but it's really expensive. And I usually buy my books at thrift stores and things like that anyway, so having to buy a paperback for like $27 US dollars is too much for me. So I've been trying to read more Japanese novels, and what I realized was I could just read the Japanese novels of the books that I was planning to read in English. So I'm bilingual, but I cannot read Japanese very well because in Japanese there's three different alphabets. There's hiragana, katakana, and then kanji. I can read hiragana and katakana, but I can't read kanji. Kanji is it uses the Chinese characters. So my reading is probably at like a 5th or 6th grade level, I want to say, here in Japan, unfortunately. So I've been doing my best to practice anyways. So right now I'm reading this. It's in Japanese, so if you don't read it, you can't read it. But it's called Konbini Ningen. The English version is called Convenience Store Woman, which if you like to read a lot, I feel like you've probably heard about. It's been widely enjoyed by many English speakers. So I was planning on reading the English version, but then now that I'm here, the English version costs about $27, and then this one only cost $5.80. And so I'm currently in the middle of reading this very slowly, but surely I'm reading it. And then I don't know if you've ever seen a Japanese book, so I'll just show you. But it goes up and down. And then the kanji is like the Chinese characters here. So I have a hard time reading that, so it's been going a little slow. But it's been good so far. I like it so far. And then I've also been reading Clockwork Orange, which I'm sure you have heard about. I literally just started it last night though, so not much, but it's been good. But yeah, that's about it. Yep, that's about it. I'm a little rusty, so excuse my awkward pauses, but it's been nice to be able to rest for a little bit. Now that we're here in Japan, it's nice to not have to worry about having to move back here because it's already been done. So that's been nice. But yeah, I'll catch up with you again soon. I hope you're doing well. Please let me know what you're reading, and also do you have any kind of knitting goals, or not standards, but like rules you set yourself this year? Because I know some people are doing like no buying any more yarn this year, or like only casting on if you've cast off something, or things like that. So if you have made yourself a little rule for 2021, let me know. Let me know what your reading goals are for this year. I'm trying to read 1 nonfiction, 1 graphic novel, and 1 poetry collection maybe a month. We'll see how that goes, but I'm not holding myself too strongly on any of those. So yeah, let me know if you've been reading anything good. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking around. I'm sorry if it was a bit frazzled this episode. Definitely need to practice some more. But yeah, I hope you all are doing well, staying healthy, stay at home, wear a mask. Yeah. Bye.